Hello. Now, when I was a little younger, I spent a lot of time with the Hasidic communities in London, the ultra-Orthodox communities, often called Haredi. And it strikes me as very interesting and a little bit alarming that the current Prime Minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett, is the closest Israel has yet had to a genuinely religious or generally orthodox prime minister. He publicly observes Shabbat. He wears a knitted kippah or skull cap, but he still fails to command the support of many Orthodox and certainly many Haredi or Hasidic communities. Now, if one looks back at Israeli modern history, it's clear that Yitzhak Rabin's premiership, a government, was brought down by celebrations that he held that finished after the beginning of Shabbat on a Friday evening. And while there are principles in Orthodox tradition about what rules one can break, what rules one cannot break on Shabbos, it's pretty clear that saving a life is among them, and possibly general principles of security. So, for example, people might have a television that remains switched on during Shabbos, particularly in Israel, particularly in areas where there might be fears about security. But I cannot quite see how a military operation on Temple Mount, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, qualifies as saving a life. And one's got to remember that the 15th of April this year was the first day of Pesach, the first day of Passover, the day of the first Seder. So I must repeat my concerns that under Naftali Bennett, I expected a better leadership. I expected Bennett to look back to his predecessor and particularly look back to last year and wonder why there was a crisis then on the Temple Mount and what could be done to avert it this year. Oh, and from that point of view, I must apologize because I mixed up his name with that of his predecessor, Benjamin Netanyahu. There's absolutely no link at all implied in the in that confusion. That was my mistake. But I remain concerned, and I don't quite understand. Other than the need to appear strong for the coming election, why there had to be another crisis at the Al-Aqsa Mosque this year in Israel, and why so many people yet again were injured, and there were 7 deaths. Shocking, deplorable, and not the sort of thing to be thinking about when 3 of the big celebrations, the 3 big religions, fall together: Pesach, Ramadan, and Western Easter.